Ulonkata bati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun ló fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Ṣàngó, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ́jà.
Alafia, peace and blessings, Oboro, Oboye, Abo, She. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisha Gbemi, and we are joined by our distinguished community elder, Oloye Baba Ifa Karade. Alafia, Baba, what's going on with you?
Dadani, everything is well. Abo, Ato, worry. Okay, worry, Wofun. I'm feeling dangerous, bro. Dangerous, you know, and that's not a bad thing, because sometimes you got to be dangerous to unshackle the chain. Sometimes you got to be dangerous to, you know, confront, you know, the obscurity, to tear and rip apart the misconceptions and lies that have, you know, been a part of the oppressive process. So, my listeners, I love you, but I got to tell you, I'm feeling dangerous today. Dangerous. I'm a grown ass man. I'm feeling dangerous. We're getting ready to throw down, and you know, and we need to hear from you, because you come on, throw down with us, you know. Yeah. So peace and blessings to one and all, and especially to you, Baba Orisha, baby. Okay, for making this possible and for honoring this old soul. Okay. I can't thank you enough. I can't be more appreciative.
Nah, shit. Listen, I gotta take that, and I'm gonna accept it and embrace it, and let you know I appreciate your appreciation, but I'm gonna throw it right back your way, man. If it wasn't for you, I don't think I'm sitting here today. So, you know, that part, you know, I feel like
got
it. Listen, I feel like we got the equalizer in studio today, man. You said you feeling
dangerous, man.
You thinking about Denzel and the equalizer.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. It's all good, man.
That's what's up. Well, you know, before we get into it, Baba, I wanted to kind of throw a few things out there. And first and foremost, in true Ashe African Spirituality Experience fashion, I want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to the listeners, man. The listeners, the supporters, everybody who's been rocking with us, everybody who's been commenting, everybody who's been sharing the channel, everybody who's been, you know, just pretty much giving gratitude and their appreciation, man. And it means a lot, you know. And I've been actually checking out a few other brothers' channels this week that, you know, I've been following their work for years, and just to kind of see how, you know, so many different people are taking this work serious and pouring into our community, you know. And I feel like, you know, we're doing it in our own unique, special way. But I think for me personally, I think what I really, really, truly love and appreciate the most is like the appreciation of the people in which we're pouring into our audience, into our listeners. And they really value, you know, the information that's being shared. They value your wisdom, your insights, your experiences. And I think one of the things that they value, including myself, I should say, we value, is just the true, raw, uncut, you know, just straight, no chaser, no bullshit. You know, sometimes you got to pop out and show niggas mentality, you know, and I really appreciate that about you, Baba, and the listeners appreciate it about the channel, as well as all of our previous guests as well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who's been a part of the channel, everybody who's supported the channel, everybody who's been, you know, giving feedback and live, you know, a lot of appreciation. So with that, you know, I kind of want to send that love and shout out to all those who support and who've been rocking with the channel. And, you know, they pushed us over 700 subscribers this week. That's huge. Slowly but surely crossing the milestones that we need to get the channel to the next level. So that's going to kind of open up ways for us to create the community-only memberships, and to create opportunities to have, you know, the channel get to the next level by having, you know, private community calls, private live streams, exclusive membership-only calls, and a lot of good, you know, insight, you know what I mean? And I seen someone today shouted out the channel in regards to being able to be a part of the private calls. And so we definitely working on that, Queen, and we appreciate your love and support as well. So with that, Baba, you know, shout out to Baba Ifa Banga, Irise, for supporting and sponsoring the Ashe, the African Spirituality Experience. I want to put that gen up there, that OT, to give a shout out to him, because it's a for us, by us OT, for those who are in the tradition, you know, who would like to use our own OT to venerate our ancestors, to venerate our warriors, to venerate our Orisha with a truly melanated divine source of OT that comes directly from one of us. So I feel like that's a huge honor and a collaboration and sponsorship within itself, you know, to support Brother Fogbenga as well as his Elise Gin, you know, and for him to also support the channel by, you know, sponsoring us with this gin as well. So with that, I'm ready to get this thing cracking, bye-bye.
All right.
Yeah. So we're talking about today, the topic of today, proverbial wisdom and insights based on Isheshe and Ifa.
Yeah.
So when I say that, Baba, what does that mean to you?
Well, being that we only got 4 hours to talk about it, I'm gonna try to be concise. All right. I want to ride on the Oya winds that you got stirring up, because it's a powerful statement. And I've been dancing in the rain behind support and behind, and I'll use this term lightly, my people, followers. I'd much rather say supporters. I'd much rather say they in a very, you know, general term. I would dare even say, you know, those who are associates or adherents. You understand? Followers seems to have this submission to it. Oh, I'm a follower. I can remember traveling back and forth across this country, and more often than not, one of the first questions is, how many followers are you looking for? How many followers? How many followers do you have? And questions of that sort. And my response has always been, from day one, I'm not counting. You understand? I'm not here to amass followers. Bring me the leaders. Bring me those who will work in partnership. Bring me those who can be a part and parcel of a co-op, a cooperate movement. Okay. Followers come and go. Followers fall by the wayside. Followers will change up on anything that now excites them for this moment. And that's no slight. It's just nature. Okay. We're attracted to certain things at certain times, and when we're no longer attracted to it, we kind of move on. But when you become a part of a movement, when you become a part of a nation building, as metaphorical or as literal as that may, you know, be interpreted, then you're apt to stay longer. You're apt to work harder. You're apt to apply your strength to it. And by the African spirituality experience giving or presenting a means to discuss that and then put it into motion, I think that's the power inside the powerful. You know, the swirling winds is one thing, but that eye of the hurricane, that's where we want to be. You know, that's where we want to be. So I give homage. I need a deep response to this, you know, as we handle our business. And see, that's another area that is so extinguished, just beyond extinguished. It's like you burn the bridge and then you bury the ashes. You know what I mean? It's like it never existed, and no, you can look all you want, but that bridge was never there. And the bridge that I'm speaking of is how we handled our business, how our merchant class became the, you know, the foundation of the civilizations that we built, the empires that we built. Okay, this is nothing hypothetical. I'm not talking make believe or I wish it was that way, or I'm trying to romanticize. Okay, we had businesses, we had trade, we had ways of accounting, and that's been lost, or dare I say, the bridge has been burnt and the ashes have been buried, and we're left to rely on factors of dependency. Okay, if I can't fit into that other cultural world, then I'm not truly successful. If I can't navigate, my internal ancestral being around the necessity to feel as though I've accomplished something, I'll make a deal with the devil, as they say. I will sell my soul. And we're attempting to not do that. Okay, we are sincerely attempting to not do that. And I know that there's tens of thousands of you out there, if not millions, who would like to be a part of seeing a concrete establishment grow out of Isheshe and Ifa. Okay, so I just want to give homage to you, Orisha Gbemi, and to all of our listeners who kind of, not only think that way, but are actually making it that way.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's very important. What do you think?
I think it's phenomenal, and I give thanks and mudupwe to you. I appreciate you. And, as you were saying that, all I could think about is Pac, the rose that grew from concrete, because you think about all the things that we've been through as a people, all the things that we've been through as a culture, all the things that we've been through, as melanated beings, especially those of us in the diaspora and those in us, particularly in the United States of America, this corporation, I had the Queen Mother, Cynthia L on here, I think like 2 episodes ago, and she was saying how we are prisoners of war, and then I saw what you shared in the Karade Nation earlier online in regards to the how they would farm and breed us, in slavery, in terms of how they would take the bucks and the studs of the flock and kind of make them go around to the different villages and different plantations to breed, with a lot of different women that were also prisoners of war. But I've looked at it like you can't. How do you stop a storm? You can't. What you're saying about and there's a lot of Oya energy in the air right now. Especially here where I'm at. So it's like you don't stop a storm. We watch. We sit. We are embracing the power. We're embracing the destruction. We're embracing the force, the hurricane force winds, the hurricane force tornadoes, the hurricane force rising of the tide of the ocean. Like we're seeing all this in real time. I'm seeing it in real divine time, being in the area of the world where this is happening. And in the process of me seeing this, I'm driving down the streets after Milton, and I'm seeing big, massive trees snap like little toothpicks. I mean, I'm seeing trees uprooted, knocked over like they're little toys, and it's like, to see this, it's like, wow, just to think of the power of the nature of the planet, of our mothers, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to be on the other end of that power, and I feel like where we're at right now, we're riding the tailwind of the storm. It's fueling us as if like fueling a car. It's fueling the fire that burns within for us to continue to do this work, to not only uplift and empower, but to liberate the minds, the spirits, and the souls of our people. So with that's how I feel about it, Baba.
All right, man. All right. You see, this is where, being in accord, being harmonious, again, a term that's taken to be a little bit dispowering. Okay, because the notion is, we got to be aggressive. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and and especially you who are oppressed, we're going to breed you to be vicious. We're going to breed you to not have concern. We're going to talk about single mothers, but we're not going to talk about how we bred that into your cultural bearing. Okay. No, and no, we don't show it in the movies, and no, we don't, show it in the history books that you send your children to. Okay. But this is what I woke up with as I went to sleep. Okay. And woke up again. You mentioned time, perfect statement. The further we move forward in time, the further back we realize what time has done. Okay? And the manipulation of that and the obscuring of that time is what our forward progress has to be about. We have to unmask the mask of time and all of its implications and all of what has been laid down for us to accept. Okay. Oh, accept that. Oh, plantations weren't that bad. Oh, accept the fact that, see, well, you had your holidays and see how well you were treated and all that kind of thing. That's not what was happening. That's not what was happening. And the further we move ahead in terms of our study, in terms of revitalizing the ancestral, facing the epigenetics, dealing with the traumas, kind of, unshackling ourselves from slavery. Unshackling self. It's one thing if the government, quote unquote, does it. It's another thing if somebody else says, okay, you free now. But okay, so free. Am I free to free myself? Because you seem to have a problem with that. You're going to tell me I'm free, but the minute I start acting like I'm free and start demanding the freedoms that freedom inherently brings, then we have an issue. And now, if we have to give into that, okay, then there's going to be a backlash somewhere down the road. Okay, we may have given you the right to vote, but now we're going to make sure your literacy proficiency goes down. Okay, we're going to increase police brutality. We're going to backlash it some kind of way because see, that freedom that you are trying to be free in, it's not going to come easily. That deep freedom. Okay, I mean, come on. When people were attempting to practice Isheshe after manumission, okay, from all of the countries involved in the New World, it was outlawed. You could be killed. So how free is that? How free is that? You know what I mean? You can't practice your civilized self. You can't bring in. You can't start your own business. The majority of the people who were lynched in this country were business owners. Business owners, and that's fact. Why were cities and towns black run, burnt to the ground? Because they were handling business. They were becoming independent. They were becoming free. And the people who were like, oh, well, yeah, everybody's free. Yeah, okay, until everybody starts exercising what that freedom is. You understand? So this journey that we're on, this experience that we're experiencing, it is a forward moving movement. It has to be, and it has to be concrete. It can't be, hypothetical and abstract and, bunch of people talking around. You know, I used to go to these panels in these various colleges and whatever. And, you know, I'm the only one sitting there with my little BA that I worked 8 years to get. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people got their PhDs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, I am fearless. I'm not intimidated by you or anything else up in here. So, you know, and I used to just marvel at the talk about it. You understand what I'm saying? You know, what we should do. And, you know, we're going to set up a program to do this. We're going to set up. Now, mind you, I'm not taking anything away from that. I mean, come on. Okay. But while they're talking about doing it, I'm like, well, I've already established my temple. Okay. And I've written a book that's now in 3 or 4 languages that my people are reading, not just folks with masters and PhDs. You know, the work is going into the quote unquote grassroots.
Not to mention all the different islands and the people on the globe reading it. You know, I've seen the handbook on so many different websites. It's like, I mean, I would say damn near every metaphysical or any website that I've been on that has anything to do with consciousness, I've seen the handbook on. Even a website I was on, I think I told you about, it was like last year, I was on this website that I came across that sells special crystals, or like they have like a really strong collection of crystals, you know, like healing crystals, quartz, you know, but they had like crystals that are kind of rare, hard to find. And I was on that website, man, and they had the handbook on it. I'm like, yo, I think I might have sent you a screenshot or something about it, because I wasn't expecting to see it on that website. Now, they did have, you know, metaphysical books. They had
new age kind of stuff.
Yeah, like all the books that talk about meditation and healing and all these different things. But they had the handbook on there. I'm like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean? And then not to mention all the other, you know, people from the Spanish communities, from the Brazilian communities, from, you know what I'm saying? Like pretty much every aspect of IFA and Isheshe, regardless of its Kundumbele, regardless if it's Santeria, regardless if it's, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen the handbook in regards to every single aspect of this culture. And so you're talking about an international classic, man. And then, like I said, I really started out by saying, without you, I don't know if I'm sitting here. I don't believe I'm sitting here having this conversation and being able to talk this kind of talk in dialogue with the practice of IFA and Isheshe if it wasn't for the handbook. You know, I told you I got it in all 3 formats, the ebook, the paperback, and the audiobook. I probably listen to the audiobook. I can't even tell you how many times, because with my schedule, I don't have the time to read like I would like to, but I can listen. You know, I make time to listen and still learn while I'm doing other things. And the handbook has been extremely instrumental in regards to my process, you know, and my path in this journey. So you definitely have done your fair share and then some of contribution to the Isheshe culture.
Yeah, and I embrace that, you know, and dare I say humbly, you know, because again, I'm not out, you know, trying to beat this on somebody's head. You know, it's like, this is here for us. Okay, this is literally here for us. And as I've traveled I'm walking down the streets in Bahia, and somebody recognized me from a picture. I'm freaking in the Netherlands, you know, they're calling me to come talk, you know, behind the handbook, you know, and a few other instances right up to a couple of months ago where I find out that people have printed it in Spanish in Argentina, you know. And I had to contact the publisher and was like, yo, what's up? Well, how come I'm getting my foreign rights royalty up in here? What's going on? You know what I mean? Because I'm handling business.
Yes, sir.
And you know, it kind of pains me to say this, but sometimes, you know, it seems like we get a little shy when it comes down to Black business, when it comes down to, you know, pulling together and making things happen. You know, back to the crab in the barrel thing, back into the one up thing, back into the, well, I got position, but I don't want nobody else in this position. You know, I don't want my position. I deal with that even on a college level. I mean, just so infantized with degrees. I'm like, please, you know, you're talking to a veteran of the world. Okay. So what is it that stops us. And then when we go back, and as I've shared in the earlier one of the earlier podcasts, seeing what's unseen. Okay, seeing what's unseen, and part of that unseenness is that track record of how we handled business. We can talk about commitments and marvel at all of the artifacts and the metu netir and the netirs and all that, but I rarely hear about trade. I rarely hear about the monetary system. I really hear about the merchant class. Okay, all of that is not important to those who continually push the ancientness of everything. Okay, what was the merchant class of Kemet? What was the merchant class of Oyo? What was the merchant class of Benin? We're talking about empires here. We're talking about civilizations, and there's not one mention of mercantile. And so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You will not be a merchant class in this country because, as we've shown you, if you get too uppity, we're gonna burn your shit down.
Black Wall Street.
Yes.
Rosewood.
Exactly. Okay.
The movement in Philadelphia. I don't know if people know about the movement, but we can go on and on and on.
Down in North Carolina. Wilmington, and we'll burn it down and walk away. Ain't nobody going to touch us. So much for the legal system.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Some folks out there can touch now.
Yeah. Because see, everything is free as long as we control it. So then I question whatever definition of freedom you are hyper and superimposing upon us. Whatever that term means has to take on a different meaning for us in Isheshe and Ifa. Because if not, we're just, we're just on the stage. Okay? We're just on the stage. And not saying that's a bad place to be. And not saying it's not a tier. But the further we go back in terms of, we're going to call on our ancestors. Well, what if the ancestors say, you got to get together and support Ishe and Ifa? You got to get together and get the books, the children books by Orisha Gbemi, the handbooks and everything by Karade. You got to get the books. You got to put it into motion. You got to be transformed by it. Okay. If that's what your ancestors want you to do, to learn, to study, to grow, to evolve, to ascend, then why aren't you doing it? Because it's easy to say our ancestors did this, but again, you don't even know what your ancestors were doing because A, you got so many, and B, you're not really stripping back what has been injected and forced upon we.
Baba, speaking of that,
Yes.
I want to jump in. When you talk about like what's been forced upon us or what's being shown to us, I've had working with some clients and some people in the community this week. I had a pretty interesting experience with the Ibori, and at the end of the Ibori, the Ori cleansing, the client said that they had a vision of a snail, and in that, matter of fact, I got a couple of them right here, kind of handy. So in the vision of the snail, and that was probably hard for y'all to see with the size of the snail, small. But matter of fact, let me see if I get a big one. But in the vision of the snail, the class said that they saw the snail and then they saw like the circle, you know, the sacred geometry circle. And then from there, it was like the color of blue, and the snail's sacred geometry, I guess, kind of transitioned, almost like kind of like a slideshow, how it goes from one slide to the next. It transitioned into the ocean. And then from there, after that, the next vision was seeing the continent of Africa, but seeing it from the opposite perspective, from seeing it like with the horn facing up, and then, you know, the mass of the continent down, which is actually the way that the continent sits, you know, on the real, you know, global map. And that was like the visions that came across, you know, at the, you know, during the cleansing. So what would you say, spirit, I would assume this is a spiritual transmission, right? What would you say that those visions would have symbolized in regards to the experience that this person was having during this or cleansing?
Well, first of all, it's deep. It's deep, and it opens up many doors, and all the doors leading to the best of places. Okay? Now, let's take what are PKB consist of? Our prior knowledge base. Okay. Now, a person from one part of the world, okay, may see snails as nothing much. Okay. And that world doesn't necessarily mean in terms of space, but in terms of time.
Right.
Okay? But as one immersed in IFA Wisdom, that snail becomes the container of sand from which was poured to bring about landmass on the earth. Okay.
Wow.
So the sand is being poured. The color blue, though indicative of the oceans, okay, is also the color that was once identified with Ifa priests. It wasn't always this gold and yellow thing.
Right.
At one point, it was blue, and I learned this, okay, from we say Abimbo. So said the priests would know because they would have this light blue thing happening. So I'm seeing the vision from where my knowledge base is. You see, and so if this person is having this vision, then this person is truly an Iyanifa. She has journeyed in her mind back to the time prior to the coming forth of beings on this planet.
Okay. Sure.
So now, once the earth was, you know, the sand was laid on earth, and of course, what earth, sand, okay. But you figure, where does sand come from? Sand comes from crushed mountains. You see, it starts to open up more doors. Okay? Sand isn't just sand.
Yeah.
Okay? Just like stones aren't just stones. They were once mountains. Stones don't make mountains. Mountains make stones. And crushed stones.
I see where you're going with this too. Look, I don't want to interrupt, but I got some strong followers, but I see where you're going, Baba.
That's what I'm saying. So now we have this whole Ifa cosmology thing happening within this Iya, Nifa. And I must say that she's on the course to greatness. Okay. It may take some time for that realization to become an actualization, which is something I'm going to talk about in a minute. But clearly, if her mind can grasp that, and it's not anything she saw, you know, and it's duplicating.
Yeah.
But this is her ancestral bearing.
Yes, sir.
She's somebody who needs to be listened to.
Listen. I felt the energy during the process.
Man,
I felt it. Like, I'm like, yo,
I feel it down. I wouldn't.
yo, listen. And then so now when you saying that, I was like, in the moment, I'm like, man, look, that's deep, because immediately my mind went immediately to Obatala with the snail, and then the ocean. My mind went to Imoja, and then with the continent of Africa being flipped in its true form. I'm thinking like, yo, you looking at that from the heavens, because that's how it's supposed to be seen, even on the maps. But we don't see that because of what they've done, in terms of the knowledge and the education and the information that's out there. However, I knew that was profound. I'm like, yo, if you don't mind, I would love to talk about this on the show, because I would love to get Baba's interpretation.
And that's deeply appreciated. Now, when you merge our two insights together, and then break it down to the common denominator, which is why you'll have 5 Babalaos, and it's not because they all sitting around listening to one, or you'll have a council and everyone lends their voice based on their insights. See, and ultimately, a consensus has to be made. But that's how we grow. That's how we work. We're not in this or the other. We're into the and. We can't talk about we and then just dismiss everybody else other than ourselves. Now that doesn't mean we have to submit ourselves to abuse or being condescending, or being condescending or abusive. Okay, I mean we have to stay in context. All right. But if I were to say to you, oh well, no man, that's not right according to the IFA, blah 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 blah. That's taken away from who you are, where you are, and the importance that you lend to the who we become. Okay, so my response to your interpretation is that you spot on. It's all good. Okay, I'm just lending something else to the portrait. But at the end of the day, we can both agree that our sister, she got this.
It's powerful.
She got this.
Oh yeah. And when you went to when you said about the mountains, that that's about as well. You know what I mean? But when you said the sand, I've never heard that interpretation of sand, or that definition of sand before. So the sand is like crushed mountains. That's deep, because that is bringing me to somewhere I was going to wait a little bit later on to go to. But since you already opened the door, I'm respectful, if you don't mind, step right through. So when we talk about crushed sand, mountains, sand being products of crushed mountains. And I know that there's another deity who's extremely powerful that is connected to Shango. And Shango has been here present as well with Yeye Oya in terms of these storms and all the the powerful transformations and destructions, and for the cyclical, sometimes you got to destroy in order to build. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel like. I feel like Mother Earth is going through her cycle. You know what I'm saying? She's cleansing. She's cleansing away all this BS, and she's making way for the new. But with that, and the tie into the mountains, there's another deity who's not spoken upon on a regular basis, and I don't believe a lot of people, especially people who are brand new to the tradition, are familiar with. But that deity, that god, goes by the name of Aganju. So now when we're talking about Aganju Baba, we're talking about the Orisha who's tied to, not only is said to be the father of Shango, but also in regards to his nature aspects or characteristics, he's tied to the volcano.
That's correct. Okay.
So can you share a little bit with us about?
Yeah, well, just a little bit, because see, people got to sign up for the classes, man. And can't give away the cow, bro.
Okay. I got you. But just put a layman's term.
I'm in. Well, when we talk about Aganju, the volcanoes, and we have to think about what is a volcano, and how does it come about, and the importance of that core of the earth, and the importance of the upheaval that will bring a mountain out and up from the ocean. We have to take into consideration. You see, when we talk about the Orisha being of the nature of, and when we talk about Natirs being of the nature of, it's important that we take into consideration our ancestral interpretation to say that, okay, so here we have knowledge of this mountain that spews out this tremendous amount of heat, that spews out this fluid that we call lava, you know, and what's happening beneath the earth that makes this happen, and what force of nature that we now attribute, we give name to, because various cultures have various names for the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so from the Sheshe point of view, we have Aganju. So now it's like, it's not only the volcano, but it's also the metals. It's also the strength. It's also the power that it takes to break through and come up from. Okay. And then spew. And my people might say, oh, well, oh, that lava is dangerous and all that. But that lava lays down fertility. Wherever that lava has been, becomes fertile soil.
That's it.
You see? So when we talk about Aganju, we talk about the importance of metals from the earth. Okay. We talk about the deliverance of something so powerful as a mountain that surfaces through the ocean, okay, and reaches up into the sky, and then spews this okay. And I might say, well, that spewing is not only a detoxification, okay, it's also a spreading of knowledge. It's also a spreading of that which again brings about the fertility of mind, the fertility of being, the fertility of essence.
Sure.
And then when we talk about, you know, Orisha who aren't as known, and then we boil that down to the, you know, the 7 major Orisha kind of thing. We have to understand that the 7 major Orisha were survival tactics. You know, we had to take the strongest from the most of us and say, okay, we're going to have to push everything together because we're being killed off, we're being decimated, you know, and our elders are like the first to go because with no use on in the labor camps and the breeding farms. Okay, so we as the younger have to come up with a way to keep at least the most known and not necessarily the most powerful, but the ones that are more accessible, the ones that we had some knowledge of, and squeeze them all together under this system of syncretism with Catholicism. Because we got to remember other types of syncretisms were happening that we don't know, that we aren't privy to, unless we study something, you know, unless we study it in another book. So yeah, so it goes back to the force of, and then how we interpret it, and then how that interpretation leads to our actualization and our transformation as we call upon these Orisha, these divinities, not because we want to dress up like them and dance like them. There are groups who do that. There are actors and actresses. There are dancers and drummers. But there are also people who are scholars, who are sages, who are, the teachers, who are the merchants.
Mm.
And they're not doing a lot of that. But that's all we're shown. And so that's all we've come to believe.
Not sure.
And again, the further we move ahead in time, the more clearly we must see the past. Okay.
Yeah.
I stated before, being, still in the container of enslavement. It's like that's as far back as we can go.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I think sometimes we get confined with the concept of time as well, Baba, because, based upon this thing called time, really time is an illusion for one thing. And then on top of that, with us who being in the culture and in the tradition and in the path that we're in, we see in divination that time really is not linear. Time is like, it really is. All three aspects of time are all happening simultaneously. You have the past, present, and the future all happen simultaneously. It's all in how we're interpreting this time. You know what I mean? So it's like, I was talking to somebody the other day and they were talking about a dream that they had. And then like how if they had a dream about someone who I think it was an ancestor, someone who transitioned, right? But they had a dream about him. They were like, what do you consider that to be? Do you consider that to be that I was visiting them in the real world, or were they visiting me in this illusional world? I'm like, actually, it was both. Because if you think about it, depending on how your perception or your knowledge, or how do you call it, prior-based knowledge, or PBK, is going to be determined upon how you view that, how you see that. Because for me personally, I would say if it was me, I was visiting my ancestor in the real world, because this is the illusional world, because this world is confined to this thing we call time. Like it's a limit to it. You know what I mean? As far as in this vessel, in this skin suit that we're wearing, right? So therefore, if I'm visiting my ancestor in the ancestral realm and I'm talking to them, I'm just like I'm communicating with you, then I went to the real world to see my ancestor. And they were popping up with me in the real world, because this is the temporary world where, we here with these temporary suits. But when you're talking about spirit, you're talking about traveling, you're talking about energy. Energy is infinite. There's no limit to our energy or our ability to travel to different dimensions, to travel to different times. Speaking of which, I'm going to share a story. This must have happened, I don't remember, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And I believe this is the first time or the only time I can remember happening, where I was actually in 2 dimensions and consciously in 2 dimensions simultaneously at the same time. And that's because what happened is I remember being in this place, and I can't recall where the place was. I don't know where the place was. Hell, I don't even know if I was on the planet Earth, but I know I was in a place that, to me, it did feel spiritual. It felt like some sort of sanctuary or some sort of spiritual location. And I remember having to use the bathroom. And so I'm there with other people, in this facility or wherever I was. And I remember asking someone, excuse me, could you, show me where the restroom is? And so I literally get up and I'm going to use the restroom. I go use the restroom, and then I go back, to whatever I was doing. But the next day, my queen was like, yo, do you remember sleepwalking? Do you remember asking me where the bathroom was? And I'm like, yo, I said, yeah, I do. I said, but the way I saw it, I wasn't talking to you. Like, I was talking to somebody else. I said, because I remember saying that, but I don't remember saying anything to you. Like, I remember I had a very vivid dream that it was a lucid dream. I'm talking about, this dream was so real. It was like, yo. And so like we laughed about it because she thought it was funny. She's like, yeah, you was sleepwalking. Like, you was talking in your sleep. I was like, man, I don't know. I said, man, I feel like I was literally in 2 dimensions at the same time, which had never happened, where I was consciously moving my body in the physical world, but at the same time, my essence and my consciousness is in an entirely different world. And so I'm like, yo, that was deep. That was extremely deep, because I've never seen or experienced anything like that before.
Well, let's look at it. You're a Babalao. Okay. by not just initiation, okay, the potential. You were born with it. Selected ancestors were born with it. Selected in respect to having this ability, having this capacity to step beyond three-dimensional worlds and into the fourth dimension and into the fifth dimension and other dimensions beyond. Now, it may take other folks, you know, to scientifically validate it, but this was our science. Okay, just like 1,000 years from now, what scientists are doing will be seen as something else. Okay, but the capacity as a being, I won't even just say a human being. Whales have it, elephants have, you know what I mean? To be beyond the flesh and into the astral, into the inner dimensions, which brings us to the outer dimensions. Okay. There are those of us who have a natural capacity to do so. There are those of us who have a natural capacity to run fast. There are those who have a natural capacity, you know, to be intellectual. You know what I mean? Play the piano.
Yeah. I mean? Some people are natural, you know, skilled cookers and, you know,
you
mediums.
Like this person is a natural. But back in the day when we were free, more so, persons like yourself, myself, countless others who are listening to us, countless others who are just out there, we would have been swooped up at 6, 7, 8 years old and said, you know what, there's something about this one. Okay, let's send him to the IFA priest. Okay, so he can be trained, so he can come to understand the deepness of his capabilities based on his unknowing of his or her abilities. And again, we can draw correlations globally from Shaolin monks, you know, on to the warrior class, okay, of individuals. Okay, well, this young buck here, man, you put a couple of gloves on his hand, he go out and he's just knocking his peers out left and right. You know, we're going to train him to be a professional boxer because he shows ability and capacity. Now, what starts to happen once we are initiated, and especially, you know, at our ages of 30, 40, 50 years old, is that which has been suppressed because of the oppressiveness that we are shackled and tied to. Once that becomes a little bit lessened, we get a little bit of breathing room. You know, we've journeyed to the continent. You know, we're studying ancestral ways. You know, and our inner ancestral spirit is like, oh yeah, oh buddy, we got something for you. You know, this ain't for show.
Yeah, okay. No, that's real.
And then now our capacities start to manifest. You know, our potential starts to happen, and we're not made to fear it. It's not a part of the hoodooish, you know, voodooish kind of negative that oppressors have set upon us and continually bombard us with until we ourselves will, oh, well, don't get into that. Oh, the Lord don't like that, and blah 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 blah. You know, parroting.
Right.
And those of us who say, well, whoever, whatever, don't like whatever. This is me. This is what I be.
I sure.
And damn it, I'm gonna be it, because see, this is my life. And we have to take that initiative. And I told you I feel dangerous today. You started this.
Hey, get busy on it, man. Get busy on about. Hey, listen. I want the danger. Hey, look, I feel like Top Gun. Highway to the danger zone. Let's get it. I'm here for all the danger, man. That's what I signed up for.
So the brother asked, what's the key to traveling to different dimensions? Well, the key is meditation.
Yes, sir. I wanted to get to that, but I didn't want to jump in on you. But yes, sir. Yep.
The key is settling down. The key is freeing yourself up. The key is not trying to get there, but allowing it to happen. You didn't go to sleep thinking that you were going to have a dream about being in separate dimensions. It just happened.
Yep.
But it didn't just happen. It happened because, as we've stated throughout these podcasts, is that you are accumulating spiritual stamina. You are accumulating spiritual wealth. You are accumulating spiritual capacity. And hence, you are becoming stronger. That I say is like, I'm going to open you up.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. I say this, I say that. Okay, we got it. But what are we becoming as a result of our getting it? You see, we become travelers. We become the voices of our ancestors. We become our ancestors. In full potential. We become the future in this non-linear time.
Yes, sir. Facts. And to piggyback off of that, Baba, intention. I feel like shout out to Baba Soyinka out of Atlanta, and also Baba Starridge Miraculi, who I'll be chopping it up with. He'll be coming to the platform sometime in the near future. But those two brothers were very instrumental in me getting back on track with my meditations. And when I tell you, like, I've been really elevating since I got back on track, because it's like, I'm guilty of the fact of like working so much and so hard, like not really giving myself the opportunity to pour into myself. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't be your best self if you ain't doing the best for yourself. You know what I mean? So I can't pour into anything else all the way if I ain't giving myself the right, time to pour into self. So, just, and then on top of that, every time I talk to you, you either playing the drums, or you out in nature, or doing Tai Chi, or, you know what I mean? You getting it in some way, shape, form, or fashion, writing a book, like, so all that inspires me. It motivates me to go harder, and bigger and harder than I already, feel like I was. But getting tapped back into source and getting back consistent with my meditations has really taken things to a whole nother level. I'm talking about my dreams. I've been lucid almost every night. Even like my energy, everything is like, it's elevating, it's rising. It's like I can feel things, see things, sense things on elevated levels. And it's like, everything is just like really like going like up at a rapid rate. You know what I mean? It's powerful, and the more that I feel like I pour in and tap into the universal prime creator, into source, into the element of, the universe and the ethers, the more I feel the same thing, kind of the reciprocity of the universe pouring into me and pouring into, the opportunities and the expansion of consciousness and the elevation of the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding, overstanding, understanding, etc. It's all happening at a masterful rate of speed. And I'm just like, yo, this is dope, like for real. So to answer that question too, like I feel like consistency, with the meditation and the pouring in and making it a point to spend time with self,
Yes. Very, very important, my brother. Very important, And again, here we go. Back on the train to nowhere. There's raggedy and rickety and gets derailed every 4 miles. We are not shown this. We're not seeing this. How many elays have you been in that put focus on this? How many discussions of how many podcasts? Okay. We're so stuck on what we've been reduced to. And I'm saying I'm not going to be reduced. And the stronger I get via my internal practices and coming to understand the importance of being intrinsically motivated as opposed to extrinsically motivated, I can move from within. Okay. I don't need a whip on my back. I don't need anybody threatening me or feeling like, oh, if I don't get it right, blah, blah, blah. But see, these are conditioned responses. They aren't responses to any given being. When I back in Temple of the Mystic Path days, it was like, why does that elephant stay chained to that stake in the ground?
Yes, please share that story, Baba. That's a powerful story.
Powerful. Yes, powerful. Okay, because it's been conditioned, it's been raised, it's been rewarded for not being free. It's being fed and taken care of and petted and all that kind of mental torturing, sugar-coated to be concern and love. No, at the end of the day, you're crushing me. Oh, well, we loved our slaves, and our slaves were fine. Nobody like, what? And you just go ask them. And what fool gonna be stupid enough to talk about, a master, he's rotten to the core, and then 2 days later they find his body chopped up some daggone where.
Shout out to Matt Turner.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, he cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so many things have to be taken into consideration. But the major point is that the power of the individual, the power of the who we were, are, will be right here, right now.
Ashe.
Okay. Is untouched. We like that elephant. All we got to do is blink and that we pull that chain up and we're going to tear this place down, okay? Because you try to stop a herd of elephants, you're going to have to come strong.
Better be careful because we got them on deck too.
And there's more where that's coming from.
Oh yeah, buddy.
The elephant is so wise, and the elephant so peaceful. The elephant Obatala. Oh, really? That's why they got the tusk. Okay, that's why I got the size, because you want to chain them, and you got the tiger in the cage. Oh, let that tiger have a bad day. You better bring 2 or 3 whips because you're going to be tearing through it. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole thing about breeding in order to, subdue and bring into the mind that you must be submissive, even if you say you're free, even if other people see you, like with the brother who was the breeder. I was so angry, and I came across that like 4 o'clock this morning. I was so angered by it. It took me another hour or so to kind of lay my head back down because I got to be ready to step into the ring. You know what I mean? And tag team with my partner here. Okay, so it's like, he was well fed, and he was always checked for diseases and blah blah blah. I'm like, you treat him like a racehorse, and now somebody's supposed to be, congratulating you or applauding you because you taught, him how to be a rapist. I mean, because literally that's what it comes down to. You go in that barn and they use the term had relationships with. I'm like, what? What? Yeah. You send him into breeding and talking about had relationships with. That wasn't no relationship.
And what's so deep about that too, Baba? For our listeners who are on the stream with us and those who will see the replay later, if you think about it, I don't know how many people do, but I know when you think about, if you look at the movie industry, right, Hollywood, and you think about it, every single year, no more than 2 years, there's a new slave movie that they put out new in theaters, and they call it a different name, but it's doing the same thing. You know what I mean? It's the Jim Crow effect. And it's like, you know, and to quote the great elder Carter G. Woodson, the miseducation of the Negro. You know what I mean? So it's so many different elements that we see that are going on a consistent basis that I think a lot of us, we're so conditioned and so programmed, we're not even able to detect or pick up on the programming as it's happening in real time. So people ask me to watch certain movies. I'm like, I'm not watching that shit, man, because if I watch that, I already got a little certain chip on my shoulder. If I get out in traffic and somebody, you know what I'm saying, do something crazy, then you got that, you know, that other energy at play. And I'm like, I got to keep the barbarians, you know, at bay, keep them tucked away, boy. They only can come out as needed because, you know, you watch stuff like that, and then you got those, depending on the type of person you are. But I know the way my energy set up, I can't be watching stuff like that. My mother's all,
I'm done with it, you know, because I know why it's being done, as you so wisely stated. You know,
subliminal seduction.
It's subliminal seduction. It's mind games. It's mental torture. It is. It's just dressed up to be like, oh well, this is cool. No, it's not cool. You know, and there's certain terms like you'll hear me say, you know, plantation. I don't even no. Labor camps, breeding farms,
concentration camps,
you know, concentration camps, mass grave sites, you know, on and on and on. Let's face the horror and stop, you know, la-di-dan over it. Okay. And see, this is the concern to me of the priestly. Okay. So what if you can recite, you know, 550 Odu a second? Okay, that's fine. Because, you know, once we get into Dafa, I'm going to start breaking down the different levels of Ifa priests. Not everybody who's an Ifa priest in one sense it's an Ifa priest in another sense. But we so brainwashed and so Eurosyncretized that all we see is what they see. We don't see what we see. You understand? So we're going forward with our momentum, our movement, but time is saying, you're going to change the past. You're going to change the past. You're going to change how people view the past. And in doing, you're going to change how they navigate through the present and what they become in the future. Okay. So we have to do this. We have to have these conversations. We have to hear from our people. Our people have to hear us. Everybody just can't run to us for divination. We're coming to you with divination because this is divine. This is divination. Divine nation. Divination. Nation. Karade nation, the nation of we as a people. If you aren't going to bring nationhood into your divine self, then you're missing the conceptual power of the word. Ofoashe, the word of the words of power.
I like that. Talk that talk, Baba. Talk that talk. Get dangerous on them. Get loose.
Oh man, I've got people down in chokehold and carry on. The referee count 1, 2, pop back up.
Talk that talk, man. Go ahead and get loose on them. Yes, sir.
So I thought about how to get, you know, messages, you know, somebody put a divine nation.
That's me. Look, I'm in class. Look, I got my notebook. I got my pen. I'm sitting. Look, I'm talking, but I'm learning too.
And I'm so moved. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Like I shared with you, I'm just a drum.
There you go.
It's my Egun. They don't want to playing it. It's my Egbe or room. The nation of people who uplift and elevate me, who who like Aganju say, you are that volcano. You rise up.
Yes,
You
sir.
rise up.
Yes, sir.
You know, and you let people know that they can rise up too.
Yeah, it's funny because when you were talking about him, right, I got this crystal, right? It's a dope crystal, and
All right,
I didn't want to interrupt, but as you was
no,
talking
good.
about and explaining and breaking down Aganju, I was like, yo, it reminded me of my crystal, right? So
Okay.
I don't know how clear it looks, but this is a dope crystal, man. I bought this crystal, I don't know, about a couple years ago, but I sleep with this crystal, man. I sleep with it like right next to my bed because, you know, it reminds me of the Great Pyramid of Kemet, but it's
Okay.
dope because you were talking about how the metals come out of, you know what I'm saying, the volcanic, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, listen.
See,
I was like, boy, Baba going in on them, boy. Going in.
oh man,
Going in on them. Yes, sir.
I don't care how many battles I'm in.
Listen,
I'm going to battle.
I know that's right.
I don't care, because see, like we stated before, you know, you can go to an elay all you want, but until you become that elay, and you, wherever you go, you are symbolic of, a rep of, an essence of, a spirit of, an elay. I don't care if you in the gym. I don't care if you out in the park. I don't care if you driving in your car. You know, when you take on that sacredness, everything around you is like, yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
The thunder speaks to you. The light lets you know that, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay? That big falcon lands on the tree and watches me, just perks there, checking me out, you know. Little shoes run up, talking about, what you doing?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That elay is you, and all of that which is sacred. You used a very perfect and powerful term, the reciprocity. Because you recognize sacredness, sacredness is going to recognize you.
Yes. Yes. That, I'm telling you, Baba, it's so profound. Like, I can't tell you, like, you know how many times we've had podcasts and we recorded. It ain't even been just with just you, other guests as well. But we've been on the podcast, not the live stream, but the recordings that we do. Because for the listeners who are on with us today, a lot of the shows y'all are seeing they're not real time. Those were filmed days, weeks, or months, in advance before they're actually uploaded on the channel. But there has been so many different times that when we're recording our shows, Kabiese Shango out there, boom, 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 boom. You know, you see the lightning flash. And mind you, most of the time we're recording this the evening, so the blinds are closed. So it's like the flash in the boat is so bright, it comes through the blinds. You know, I've had people tell me in real life that they've heard the thunder on the calls while we're recording. So it's like, it's powerful. And that's just within this little confine. Now, in nature, I was out and about this week, late at night doing spiritual work, man. And I'm telling you, I went to the Shrine of Ogun, and I promise you, I can't make this up, Baba. I saw a frog in one spot. I saw a doggone, it was like a chameleon in another spot. I saw, what else was it? It was another, I want to say, I don't know if it was an insect or an amphibian, but it was another animal. But then behind that, I couldn't tell if it was a crow or what type of bird it was, but it was a black bird perched up on the fence behind the open. I'm like, yo. And then we saw, I don't know how many different black cats. So I'm just like, boy, spirit ain't out here spiriting, man. Like it was powerful. It was powerful.
That's deep, man. So
yeah.
All right, so I for our listeners out there, and I see somebody say they want to be a bridge. All right, well, come on now. All right, all hands on deck. You know, we need hands to build.
Yes, sir.
E-ray or whoa, the working of hands, and even in the Benin cosmology, put into the civilization of the Benin civilization, Benin Empire. Remember, we're talking about the Benin Wall. We're talking about the Edo people. We're talking about a great and mighty folk. They have a spiritual carvings or castings, I say, because it's metal, of hands. Okay. And when there's an individual or group of individuals in a society or in the society who have demonstrated the capacity to build by using their hands, by applying their hands, the hands now become a sacred statement. And just like over here, people get trophies and plaques, you know, and all that kind of thing. Back in the day, and maybe in some parts even now, you get the statue of hands. And I'm like, how deep is that? You know, how motivating is that to an individual who aspires to get something done by the use of their hands?
Mm.
We don't seem, because see, our emphasis is on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, you know, kind of flowery, kind of, again, plaques, trophies,
Mm-hmm.
and all that kind of thing. But what if you aspire to get something that shows that you put your hands in it? You created this. You made this work.
Listen,
You're a farmer or a writer, a warrior, okay, or someone who your hands and the sweat from your brow built a business, a corporation, that mercantile class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That you know that we are working to actualize.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's facts.
And then bring this into reality, man. You know, the actual working of a people, the actual hands building. And again, it's nice to have the lays and worship in the Orisha and the shrines and the divinations and the ebos, the readings and all that kind of thing. Yeah, but that's a part of the totality.
Mm.
And even that part is under scrutiny because it's been so Catholicized and westernized, and we've been raised to be Christians and Muslims, and you know, explorers. Yeah, but it's like, okay, but like I shared in one of the past ones, because I'm not into syncretism, I can see us more clearly. My ancestors can journey beyond that. Those ancestral cells, you know, they're like, okay, we got that. Okay, but look at all this. Look at all this.
I can see clearly now. The rain is.
And the importance of that is because when the rains come down in certain ancestral prior knowledge-based PKBs, it's like that rain becomes sacred.
That's right.
Because the waters from the earth go up, cool down, evaporate, and come back down. They say that's an ancestral statement. Okay. And it's the rains that help to create the mountains and which became the stones, which became the sands. Because when the earth was so hot, guess what cooled it down? When the earth was just a flaming ball, it was the rains.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the rains created the oceans. The rains, you know, brought it all together. So our ancestors are like, they peeping this, and they're like, yeah, you see, there's power in the rain. And now science is saying that in every drop of water inside of our bodies is a total memory of our experiences. Water has memory.
Total recall. Yes, sir. And you know what's funny, Bubba? I didn't mean to cut you off, but what's funny is I remember it was a while back now, but one of the shows we did, you mentioned something along those lines, and if I'm not mistaken, you made a statement or a quote with something along the lines of, "And every drop of sweat is like the memory of our ancestors or ancestral DNA," something like that. I don't remember what it was, but I remember a troll came through and made a little slick comment or remark on it, and I had to kind of go at him and let him know, like, man, first of all, you need to know what you're talking about before you start talking. First and foremost. Second of all, there are tons of studies out there that shows and verifies and validates that water or fluid, you know what I'm saying, has not only DNA, but the ability to communicate or listen and vibrate to the communication that's given to it. So if you're going to talk, make sure you know what you're talking about before you talk that talk.
Right. Especially the grown folks. Especially the grown folks. Because we're not up here to entertain you, you know what I mean? And everything I say, you know, and everything I know that you say is not based on conjecture. It's based on what we've studied, what we've come to understand, what we've come to learn, and what we've come to see as we can learn more of. Okay. We can't deny the importance of water, but like you so academically pointed out, is that there are studies that demonstrate the power of water, remembering the power of water, not only taking the shape of, but also the memory of. And then when we tie that into what it gets evaporated and comes back down as rain, it's a constant remembrance. It's a constant remembrance, not just for the need of water, which we are 70+% of.
Facts.
As human beings, but all of creation.
Facts.
You know, even oxygen itself, because the plankton and everything is in the water. They release the oxygen. The trees release the oxygen. If there's no rain, there's no trees. It's all working together, and they know what they're doing. So whoever this person is who feels as though they got something to say,
there was a bum.
Yeah. Just go, you know, can't nobody stop you from saying what you need to say. But when you present yourself, you know, be ready for the elders to kind of help you to grow. And if you don't want to grow, then you're in the wrong place, because we're all growing here.
Facts.
You know, we're all growing here. So, you know, that said, I want to break down for our listeners, okay, 4 or 5 steps that will assist in the process of becoming more insightful with Isheshe and Ifa, because again, this has been on my mind. The first step is accumulation. Accumulation of empirical data. That is, we're reading, we're researching. Okay, we're starting to explore cognitively. Okay, the educational value of becoming liberated. Okay, so we can fight for liberation, but if we don't have an educational system, then we'll fight amongst each other, and that liberation will be shortly lived. And we see this on the negative side from countries that have cast off the yoke of colonialism, but because the leaders have been educated in total Western containment, you know, they carry the educational hierarchy kind of syndrome and start to belittle the very people who they fought to liberate. So we want to deal with the accumulation of data, of information that is in line with the ultimate purpose or goal. Okay. So if I'm studying to be a heart surgeon, okay, I might not spend a lot of time on people's feet. Okay, what I mean? There's other material that you need to work on if that's your ultimate goal. So if our ultimate goal is to bring Isheshe and Ifa to a greater tier, if you will, within our Ashiwada, within our community is vested, but I'm talking about the entire diaspora.
Okay.
Like with the handbook, OG say. Okay, I just didn't want to affect, you know, the immediate folks. I said people around the world, wherever we are, this is where I need to be. All right. So accumulation. It took 7 years to write that book. Okay, and it took 2 trips to Nigeria and another year to put together OG say. But I had to accumulate the knowledge. You know, I had to take time to study and try to bring forth what it is that I'm doing.
Mm.
Okay. So again, I'm encouraging people to read. Okay. And I'm encouraging you to read my books. All right. I mean, I ain't gonna be shy about it. I'd love for you to read my books.
Look, I got a few too. I'm gonna be sharing with the community.
Yeah. Here we go. Tag team. Make it happen.
I'm looking for star seeds. I'm gonna find that too.
Yeah. So I mean, the support is necessary, but see, you're not just supporting via, you know, the product. You're supporting the mindset. You know, you're supporting the reality. You're supporting the world that we're building for our continuation, for the perpetuation of our ancestral realities. By reading, we come to understand that there's an unreality, okay, to what we've been taught in school, in the Abrahamics. You know, there's an unreality there. And I, for one, say I'm just not going to complain about it, because as I shared in a couple of previous podcasts, if you're a Babalawo and you state that there's a problem, oh, you better have a solution.
Big facts.
Okay. And it might not work. It might be hard to bring it to fruition, but don't sit there whining about, you know, the daggone problem and you don't have an inkling of the solution.
Right.
Mr. Babalawo, Miss Babalawo. Okay. Come on. Okay. So we have to accumulate, build a library. What's there to be afraid of? You know, I'm still, I got books ordered now. Yours coming through.
Yeah.
Coach, I just got his water dancer. I've been, you know, reading that on the side. You know, he put out another one, a message. You know, so it's like, okay, I'm not just supporting him. I'm supporting, you know, the deepness of him.
Yes.
The Tupac book, not just the product, okay, but the philosophy behind it, the thought process behind it. So all I'm asking is that we do the same for our more immediate circle, those who support this channel, those who support the Temple of Mr. Path, those who support the IFA Institute, and those who support the institute that's being built.
Yes.
With our hands right now between Baba Orisha Gbemi and myself. Okay. Because we're either supporting one thing or the other.
Yes.
And
circulating the black dollar as well, Baba. I said, and circulating the black dollar as well.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Well, that's what Marcus Garvey was trying to tell us from jump.
I sure.
And the statistics are telling us that we are, you know, we messing up. We spend more money by the billions outside of our community than we do circulating it. You know? And this is problematic. Okay? But we have to address it. Don't state that there's a problem and not have a possible solution and a strategy to put that solution into the concrete world. You can't just sit around and talk about it and wait for the Lord to save us and wait for the Orisha to bring some, you know, the Orisha are saying, oh, you looking for a miracle? Here you are. Okay. We're going to assist in the process. There's certain things we're going to ask you to do based on your prior knowledge base, but get busy.
Your savior is in the mirror.
Ultimately,
God is in the mirror.
Ultimately, you may have to go through some things to get to that realization, But ultimately, you're gonna wake up and say, "Dang, I got to get busy."
Yeah, yeah.
And if all I can do is support, then let me get up off it and support. Let me become a member. Let me do something besides kind of, turn on the TV kind of energy and attitude. I'm just gonna watch. Okay. So first thing is accumulate. Empirical data, research. Okay. Novels by, again, Brother Coates and myself and Orisha Gbemi and whoever else you can get your hands on. Okay. That put us first. That put our perspectives first. Okay. The second step is apply. Now we're going to apply the knowledge. We're going to step into certain situations and experience, but because we have a greater knowledge base, prior knowledge base, now we can interpret. Now we can discern. Now we can kind of, see what's going on. Well, we can read the ingredients, so to speak, and then determine if we want to eat that or not. As opposed to, I like that.
Yeah.
Read the ingredients. I was going to get a product just yesterday. Oh, it was advertised real nice on Facebook. It had, certain herbs and everything. I was like, yeah, I'll put it in my smoothie. I'm going to be 33 again. So I went to Amazon and based on my kind of way of doing things, I said, well, everything always look good when they advertising it.
Yeah.
But let me check and see other ingredients. Man, some stuff in there. I'm like, oh no, hell, no. Okay. I'm not down with the sucralose and the maltodextrin and the, artificial colors and flavor and all that kind of stuff. So like, why do you have all these powerful herbs, but you feel as though you got to fill it with the garbage?
It makes you wonder who actually is creating it. What's your intention?
Yeah. Well,
if you because if you get with the good, then if you know enough about the good to create it with the good, then why the need to contaminate it with the bad? And I'm gonna use hip hop as the perfect example of that. We have a masterful, art form that has been contaminated with what I call genocide culture. So these same demons and devils that set up the system that we live in have infiltrated the culture of hip hop and created this genocide music, this genocide culture. So when I talk to my sons and I talk to youth, in the high schools or elementary schools or middle schools, whatever, I always bring that up. Like, don't let the influence of what looks cool, sounds cool, feels cool, infiltrate what is actually cool. You are the cool. Yes. You are the power. You are the source. You are that dude. You are that gal. You are that young king. You are that young queen, because this other bullshit they talking about, that's set up and strategically put into your ears and put into your inbox or put into your YouTube channels and your social media feeds to eliminate the God factor that's within you, to help you to want to destroy the God factor that's within your fellow brother or sister. So now if we're going to do this, let's do this the right way. I love hip hop, and the way our hip hop was different from this hip hop. Yeah. And that's why you don't hear that hip hop on the mainstream no more.
Right. What comes to mind, man? Oh, and I would say, yes. Okay. Thing. Came across this piece, man, where it said that the ears are like wombs. Like what? And then they drew a picture of a baby cradled inside of the ear. And it fit perfectly. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm rolling with this. So
I like that.
The overall message was that just like a child, whatever we hear has an impact on what we become, how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we see everything. It said, so take care, not only in what you say, which is, kind of the general kind of notion, speak well and, like, but also take care in what you listen to, what you hear, because that more so is a determining factor
Yes.
on what you come to be.
Yeah.
I'm like,
programming the subconscious mind.
Yes. I'm like, okay, so like the food thing, I'm like, I'm going to be so concerned about what I eat and not be taken by the commercialism of it all. Okay. And being that they have to put other ingredients in writing, then daggone it, I'm going to read it. You understand? I'm going to read it. And if it's not to my liking, if it doesn't lend to my longevity, nor my acuity, it may have a lot of good things in it that I think I like. But at what cost? At what cost? And then that could be taken down to scholastics, academic work, religions. You know what I mean? That we have to filter and determine what we want of it, how much we want of it, and what's the outcome going to be. Okay. Cause and effect. Okay.
Actions,
I might get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a little bit of that. Well, to me, because see, that's what real free people can do. And I'm not going to talk about freedom and then try to enslave you even to Isheshe and Ifa. Yes. You take from it whatever you have the capacity to take. Nobody's judging that. We're just giving you the finer ingredients, the ones without the additives and the toxicity. You know what I mean? We're giving you as much as we can the purity of it all.
We serving that Dr. Sebi approved.
Yes,
spirituality. That raw spiritual food, man. That Dr. Sebi approved spirituality.
Yeah. So if this is what we're saying for you to listen to, then that little baby or the two twins cradled in your ears, become, as you stated, Orisha Gbemi, not only the conscious but the subconscious, and becomes what resonates with every cell in your body. It becomes what resonates with your DNA, your ancestrals, and this is fact. In case anybody wants to write a little something like they did with the water, let's deal with the facts, because that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah. Look, and while we talking about that real quick, Baba, not to interrupt, but I don't want to forget.
Here we go.
I don't want to forget. Man. Hey, listen. To all our supporters, our true Ashe African Spirituality Experience supporters, man, listen. And shout out to the Balogun, Shango USA, in the office of the Balogun and Isheshe Post. Like I feel like we made it now, because Baba brought to my attention last night, family, that we got imposters out there impersonating the African Spirituality Experience channel, posting our videos on their channel, saying that they're us and all kind of foolishness, man. I was telling Baba, like, a lot of the people who I follow their work that have large, followings or large subscribers or supporters, I've seen that. I've seen that in every business mentorship program I've ever been in. I've seen it in several other groups or several other, I would say, influencers that I've worked with or was coached by. The fact that when you reach a certain threshold of success, you start to see the clones and you start to see the parasites that will literally try to clone your product or your brand, and they're already doing that with us. So I let Baba know, like, that's something I've seen. Unfortunately, I'm gonna quote my godmother Yeye. The children of success are jealousy and envy, and also, imitation.
Yeah.
So that's what we're having and dealing with now, y'all. So if y'all see it, man, report it, flag it, whatever, because people are out there putting our content on their channels, making it seem as if they're the creators of the African Spirituality Experience. But we all know what it is. So once again, we appreciate y'all, you know, for the love and support for the real ones. But yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah, and this is how we're dealing with it. Okay,
Yeah.
we letting our people know.
Yes, sir.
Right, that you know, the madness is going to be contained and it's going to be handled.
Oh yeah,
and that's that. You know what I mean? And we'd like to thank all of you imposters and haters. You know, I mean, seriously, bam, okay, because all you're doing is making us tighten up. You know, and you're right. And then, like the wildebeest, you know, when the hunter's coming, you know, that lion is coming, they tighten that circle. You can bring your ass over here if you want to. You know, see all this presentation by you to this and you to that. Did you see these horns right here? You see these horns right here? Oh, we ain't going down easy. And we will protect the young ones. Yes, they put all the young in the middle, you know.
And Chelsea's bow don't miss.
Oh no, well, man, and then it's just quick. You know what I mean?
Hey, Baba, pun intended.
You know what I mean? You know, and you're not supposed to see it coming.
Man, listen. Look, and real quick, I'm gonna get off of that low vibrational, but I'm gonna share this though because I have to. But I was watching an interview with 50 Cent a little while ago, and one of the people in the audience was asking him, like, how come he follows up with trolls? Like, how come he checks trolls when they come to his platforms or whatever? He was like, because like I gotta let these motherfuckers know I got time today. So like, you want to be on here with the bullshit, I'm gonna put you on blast and like give you everything you want. So here you go, motherfucker, take this. Like, I love it though. I was like, yo, I love that, and I'm gonna tell the ones that troll us, I do this for real. I've been chewing and getting on people since the 4th grade, man. I got a lot of experience. So I'm like, yo, I was telling Baba last night, you keep playing, I'll set up a live stream, bro. We can have a stage and let's get to it. Okay, look, I could talk ish with the best of them. I could chew with the best of them, man. I grew up with some certified masters at that, man. So it's like, hey, y'all be careful.
You want to bring it.
Yeah. But those, they're not real. They're not real.
Oh man, they ain't worth too much of the time.
Surfing the internet, looking to get people riled up. But like I said,
well, false sense of
false flags and all that.
And you know, whatever the term is that make them feel as though, you know, they got it like that. You know, self-delusional.
Yeah.
So we're going from accumulating to applying, and now applying is more of your experience and your anecdotal. Okay, what's your story? What are you lending? Like, say, after so many years of me researching and going to different places and peeping this and notating that, and you know, then it was like, all right, time for me to experience being a diviner. Okay, a reader. Let's say start off being a reader, and we'll get into the difference between a reader and a diviner. Okay, and then, you know, let me see what it's like to be on the fringes of initiation, and let me try to make sense of being in these dimensional worlds. You know what I mean? And through my meditations and coming to accept the who I am in a world that doesn't accept who I am. You follow me? You know. So in spite of anyone not accepting who I am, I have to accept who I am, despite all things to the contrary. You know? And it was when I started to accept who I am, I started to accept that I've always been a writer. I've always been a writer. Like you said, since the 3rd, 4th grade, people call me, let him go up and read his story. Well, how do you write that story? There's something, you know, but no one ever said to me throughout school, to include college, yo, you could be a professional writer. No one.
Wow.
Because see, we are set to imitate and entertain you know, and it's like, oh, you know, look at the little black boy. He writes good stories. Haha, isn't that nice? You know, a little pat on the back or whatever, get a little A on the card, but no one says, like I share with my students, oh, you have a marketable skill. Oh,
Yes.
you know, you are the continuation of the storytellers.
Yes. I sure.
And so I'm talking to their babies cradled in their ears. But nobody was doing that to the majority of us in my generation.
And still not, Baba. A lot of people still not. Like I listen, I take pride in giving people compliments and also highlighting people's skills or the value that, you know, who and what they are, whatever the case may be, to the point where sometimes I know I've gotten people pissed off with me because I feel like, and I'll never forget, I was on a conversation with a brother about, I don't know, it was when I first started writing and speaking and all that. And I remember talking to this brother, man, and he checked me. He was like, because I pretty much was minimizing what I had done in regards to writing the books I wrote. He's like, nah, man, F that, man. Own your greatness, bro. Like, you doing great work. Own that shit. Like, but he said it in a stern way, but a firm way where it wasn't offensive. But he was standing on business. I was like, man, I like that, bro. I appreciate it. And I've always took that to heart because now when I see the potential in people, I see, you know, somebody's skill set or their gift, I give them that same energy, like, yo, nah, own that, man. Nah, you know what I'm saying? Don't minimize or lessen yourself for anybody. The hell with what they got to say or think about you. You do you. You is that dude. You is that chick. Like, own that, man. I'm gonna challenge you on that because I see it. And I want you to own it, and I want you to take it to the top, you know, and live it to, you know, to the fullest that it can, because that's what we're here for, you know. And I don't feel like enough of us give enough of us their credit, you know, and their flowers. And I feel like we need to normalize telling each other we love each other or actually really supporting each other. Exactly. I got several books on my desk right now from people that I love, look up to, and I'm inspired by, and I have to support the work of those who, you know, I'm inspired by, those who inspire me, those who, you know, I feel like empower me. You know what I mean? So
yes. Imagine that, empowering. You understand what I'm saying? Part of that conditioning, part of that continual trauma drama. I've had students say, you know, professor, well, a lot of the reasons we don't like to read because we get tired of reading about trauma. All people being in trauma. It's always the woe is me kind of Black experience kind of thing. And these are 16 and 17-year-olds.
Wow.
And they've already shut down, not because they don't want to read, but because what's being force fed, those other ingredients, which actually overpower. Oh, well, you need to be literate, but you also have to take in this poison that's going to kill you right quick.
Right. That part.
And their internal survival mechanisms is like, oh no, you don't. You just going to shut this puppy down. And you just not going to read at all. Matter of fact, you're going to create a dislike for it. You're going to create excuses to not do it. You're going to do whatever you need to do to survive. And I'm like, I get it. Okay. So again, when I bring in my works, when I bring in your works, and the positivity of reflection, then it's like they reading. Next thing you know, well, I'm going to write a story, you know, something like this based on that. And I'm like, okay, well, make sure you have dialogue. You know, I give them the strategy to do it, but the inspiration to do it comes from people like yourself, myself, Coach, okay, and other books that I run copies off of, and even information that I get from Facebook. You know, if I find that it's worthy and manageable, then it becomes a resource because it's a positive reflection. And that baby in their ear is like, yeah, I want to grow with this. And this brings me to the third one, and that's actualize. So after we accumulate, and then we the empirical data, you know, reading and watching documentaries and, you know, kind of getting into it, keeping our own journals, like I put in the Elder Reflections book 1 and 2, where you can actually become a part of the writing experience, the writer. Okay. Your response to a poem, your response to an essay, you know, that I've written and included, where you now you're a part of the book. You write yourself into existence. Okay, is what I've heard Maya Angelou say. Okay, you know, you take the time to write yourself into existence. Don't read yourself out of existence by the materials that are force fed. You know, the lack of representation and misrepresentation, you know, that it's all geared to erase you.
Yeah. And she's one of the best to ever do it, by the way.
Yeah. So now you have somebody like Maya Angelou who comes along, Toni Morrison who comes along, Gwendolyn Brooks who comes along, and it's saying, like, you know, quit Tupac that comes along, you know, quit seeing this as some kind of la-di-da thing. Quit seeing Isheshe and Ifa as some kind of, oh, well, we're just doing what our ancestors did. No, if you were doing what your ancestors did, we would have a multi-million-dollar business on every other street corner, and it's all below the radar. Because we don't need to depend on them. Or if you do step beyond and become one of the talented 10th in sports or academics, you take that money like Jaylen Brown and
yes,
you know,
shout out to Brown, by the way.
and a host of others, some even the soccer players, you know.
Yes.
Kodapisa, ex-soccer player from Nigeria. Now that he's retired, he opened up a school. He's using soccer to help motivate the kids, you know, to see themselves. Okay.
What about our very own Baba Ifa Karade, who's using the game of chess to teach the children in school as well?
Yeah. What about him? I heard a little something about him.
Yeah, I know that, brother.
Yeah. They say he's a little, you know, touched, you know, a little insane.
That's why we get along so well.
And that's why he's doing what he's doing, because you know, it's the insanity, you know, that makes one sane. Because, you know, people will look at, oh, well, you into that stuff, you must be crazy, but they shaking tambourines and jumping up and down about the, you know what I mean? And so it's all relative. At the end of the day, we're either all sane or we're all insane.
Shout out to Kanye. They label him crazy, but he's one of the craziest geniuses I've ever seen.
Talk to me now. All right. So yeah, we start to utilize our genius in ways that the slave owner has less and less control over, you know, and we start to sharpen our abilities and capacities in order to chisel on the wall of our existence, like our ancestors did, our existence. Okay, you might can tear that piece of paper up, but you're gonna have to do a little bit harder to blast these walls down. You know, and there's so many of them, and they thick. All right. So after we actualize, the last part, at least for this section, is then we disseminate. We spread the word. Okay. Yes, that's number 4.
Okay.
Okay. We accumulate, we apply, we actualize. We did get actualized, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I got all 3 out so far.
Yeah, actualize. We put into self-being, you know. It's like, okay, I got initiated, or okay, somebody told me that I could be a chief, or somebody gave me a chieftaincy title. I think it's a little foolhardy, and I'll put that in quotation mark because it's only my humble opinion, to then take that title or to take that initiation and then act like I'm all the way there. You know, there's no settling in process going on. You know, there's no reflection going on. There's no interaction, because a lot of us don't have mentors. Okay, so get initiated, I got initiated in Ejibo.
Mm-hmm.
But before I went, I had like 14 years in. You see? Because I started in 86. I didn't get initiated until 91. Even though I was pushed to be initiated at various points along the journey. But I didn't feel as though I had enough accumulated, okay? And I had no application. But this is where the Palo or Bakongo experience became very helpful. And that's the latest book that I'm currently working on. Okay. How that experience provided a foundation, if you will, and helped me to see the ATRs, the African traditional religions, as more viable. And as I got deeper into it, there was a certain substantiation or validation of more than what the syncretism of Santeria and Lukumi was being presented, which was one of the reasons why I didn't go ahead and get initiated, because I'm not throwing down with the Catholic saints. I'm just not going to do it. But that's my humble opinion. I never spoke out against it or to anybody or anyone. But if I say that's not what I'm going to do, then that's not what I'm going to do.
Right.
Even if you want to initiate me, even if you're telling me, oh, you could be a babalao, blah, blah, blah. Again, what's those other ingredients? What's those other ingredients? What's in there? I got to give up the identity of my people. I got to give up the cultural and historical might of my people. Okay.
And the opportunity to become the OGC that you
exactly. So I'm like, nah, bro, y'all can be all upset if you want to, jump up and down, throw black plates, frog at the mouth, all that kind of stuff I've seen. It's like, you know, you are really only showing me what you were really about inside anyway, because as soon as somebody's not going to do what you want them to do and you feel as though you're controlling them, oh, they will show you who they are.
Yeah, Baba, you cook their cornflakes and put them into a tizzy.
Oh man. And they went off. And I ain't just talking about one or two of them. And they expected me to fear for my life. I'm like, I'm fearing for my life. Me and my life is cool. You know? Me and my life is cool. I'm not fearing no man. Okay. Because whoever this is that got me moving like this, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving standing my ground. I'm loving moving towards that freedom. I've been working at trying to get these shackles off my neck for a long time.
Yes, sir.
You know, and when I get them off, then I'm going to be free to decide what I need to ancestrally do to become a part of the 7 generations ahead of me.
Yes, sir. That's true.
And no, we're not hearing Ile Ife. We're not hearing Ife Odaye. We're not hearing about Akoda and Asheda, the first disciples of Orunmila. We're not hearing about it. We're not coming to know it. We're not embracing the merchants. Okay, we're not even embracing the warriors, because like you so wisely put, we are captives of war. Our ancestors were in the majority captives of war.
Yeah. But but them captors didn't realize how many warriors that they captured either.
I've understood. Because we've been fighting man and woman, okay, against the enslavement. And as I just heard on one of the TV programs, that's a little bit more, in tune with the African perspective. One of the characters stated, and then I had to lean my ear in. I'm like, we getting strong up in here in the media. Is that we only take in what we've been shown, but the reality is we were fighting back. We had armies, okay. We had armies, and just because we quote unquote lost, okay, we still managed to change the world with everything else that we've had. Our music, Orisha, and Ifa, okay. Our mannerisms,
everything. I said fashion, entertainment, literature, art, food, you name it.
Name
something we didn't influence or create. You can't.
Athletics. Yeah, I was watching Curry the other day on some basketball shorts. I'm like, see, ain't no other body can do that but one of us.
Boy, that's something I love that boy, man. I remember when he was in college at Davidson. I'm like, man, this young dude, he was so small, but I'm like, yo, this young dude, young king is a killer. Like I loved him because I love to see. I love to root for the underdog too, but I didn't know he was gonna blossom into what he did. Like I knew he was gonna be dope, but man, he even superseded what I thought he was gonna do. Like, I rock with Steph. The boy, I rock with him. I rock, and so apropos or so such of the alignment that he goes and plays in a Hall of Fame career for the Warriors. Like that's dope. Consider how small he was, underdog. You know what I mean? Like that's
it ain't the size of the dog in the fight.
No, sir.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yes, sir. I tell people that all the time, man. Look, you gotta know how to use that size.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing I learned growing up. You know, going against bigger cousins and people, you know, in the neighborhood way bigger than me used to push me around. You know, all that stuff. It make that size of the dog inside get a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? You can't control what's outside, but you can show control what's inside.
I've been in and out of the ring a couple of times, even back in the high school and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, like, how's he doing? You know, what he's doing? I'm doing it because, you know, I mean, it's what I do.
I got to survive by any means necessary.
And it's like, you know, all things in, you know, in balance and perspective. It's like, okay, so there are people who try to defeat us by intelligently, you know, bullying, spiritually bullying, religiously bullying. So it happens on so many levels. But I'm like, it's all good because see, there are many creatures in the forest. And you can go and try to pet that grizzly bear if you want, you know, or try to hug that porcupine. You know what I mean? Talking like you got it like that. But see, I'm one of the creatures in the forest too. You know,
and I know I say it again for the people in the back. There's some people in the back.
I'm one of the creatures in the forest too, and my survival skills, and I'm knowing how to distance myself and what distance to hold from certain types of people who want to come across certain kind of ways. Because see, I'm going to survive this. You know,
any means necessary.
By any means necessary, and I'm going to leave something for the 7 generations. You know. So we accumulate, we apply, we actualize, okay? We take into our existence what we've learned and what we've experienced. We're just not doing it. Oh, they told me I was a chief, so I'm going to sit around and act like I'm a chief over everybody. You don't really? But they told me I was Babalao, so now, you know, I'm all high and mighty and people got to bow down to me and all that kind of stuff. You ain't been a Babalao for 3 days. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on, yo. All right. Take time to accumulate, apply, and actualize. Because whatever pushed you into getting the position doesn't mean that you've matured in it.
Yes. Yes.
And even if you are somewhat matured in it, like I was, I still made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 mistakes and was going down roads that had no ending, but needed to end. You know, sir. And I'm like, let me. What? Where you going?
Well, and speaking on that, man, I feel like it goes back to what we were talking about last night is humility. I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were speaking about something, and I just recall, you know, saying about how, you know, I've never had an issue with asking a question or asking for help. You know what I mean? Right. Nobody knows everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are, how smart you are, or whatever. Like you don't know everything. Like you're not everything. You don't have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I feel like those types that you're speaking about, they haven't been humbled. Like they're very, I feel like, egotistical, or they're drawn upon the status, arrogance, status, you know, all that stuff. And it's like that stuff rubs me the wrong way. It bothers me. Actually, it cooks my cornflakes and puts me into a tizzy. And I can't be around it because then we're gonna bump heads, and I don't want to bump heads. You know what I'm saying? I take pride in humility because I know my child of godness ain't no bigger or better or brighter than your child of godness. But I also know for goddamn sure your child of godness ain't bigger or better or brighter than mine either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's why I can't mix oil and water, like, or oil and vinegar with people who have that mentality, because it's like bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what makes you feel like you're that?
Yeah.
If you got a belly button, you ain't perfect. That's what my daddy told me. So it's like, last I checked, if you breathing, you should have one, unless you're a clone or alien.
And maybe you are in a certain kind of way.
Right.
You know, you've been bred to feel as though when you get a little something, because you're so powerless everywhere else, you over compensate. You overcompensate.
Yep.
You get a little power in a little position, and it's like all of a sudden you just blown up because you have no power anywhere else except in a position that you probably paid some money for.
And that's all across life too. It ain't even just IFA Wisdom. I see that every area of life where I see people like that.
Yeah. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to dance around that fire. You know what I mean? And then of course, and so now when you disseminate, you work at teaching, instructing, okay, and kind of really gauging if you're making a positive impact. Because to disseminate is to be seminal, and that's to bring forth the potential of the egg, okay, the potential of people's purpose, the potential of people's inherent abilities and capacities. You see, so if we can just follow those 4 stages, regardless of how long we've been, because after a while they all start to
coagulate together. So they all start to coagulate together.
Yes. Okay. So there are periods of time when I'm just studying. I got 4 or 5 books, man. I need to be piecing together, coming up with. I take the information, like what we can say about crossing the dimensions. One of the characters in Souls of Mer, okay, the detective, he goes through this whole symbolism thing. He sleepwalks, and not you understand. So when you talk about that, it's like, because I have the prior knowledge base, and I can say, well, see, that's real. But I take it into literature not because it's fiction, but because it's an interpretation that's put into a fictional setting.
Yes.
You see?
That's how Stump Seeds was born, Baba. Like, that's literally how this book was born. From shout out to Professor Kaba Kabane, who was on, I think, last month. He's a masterful teacher. Y'all got a lot in common in regards to the way you can make very highly advanced topics or subjects, but you can teach it in a way that is very easily consumable. And so I remember just like watching his work years ago, man, and he spoke about the Dogon tribe. And he was talking about Sirius, and it was profound. It resonated so deep within me that I'll never forget one night that whole book came to me as a download. Like, literally, I wrote it all in one setting. I'm like, yo, because it was just like, that goes back to what you're talking about being interdimensional. So I feel like in hindsight, now I didn't see this then when I wrote it, but in hindsight, I feel like that was a Dogon, experience. I felt like the Dogon or some of the intelligence from Sirius downloaded into my crown of my head and literally gave me like that story to sit and write in one sitting. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then to now for it to come to fruition, it's a beautiful thing. I put that with just being obedience, and to answer, I don't know if it was a sister or brother's question about dimensional travel, it's also about just sitting with self and listening. Listening to that small, still voice that we all have, that we all hear, that's within us.
And letting yourself be carried away.
Yes.
Quit fighting it. You know what I mean? If like I said, I didn't write the books. The books write me.
That part. That's real.
Over it, and it's like, are you kidding me? I was looking through
global perspectives.
And I'm saying this has to be the most powerful book that I've ever written. You know what I mean?
And I haven't even got into shoot. I don't know if I read half your books yet. I know the ones I've read multiple times, but I still got to get into that one. Souls of Myrrh, Moye, A Place of Nights. I still got to get into the catalog.
I'm like, who wrote this? You know what I mean? And the boys say, "You just a drum, son. You just a drum." You know.
Yes.
Keep yourself tuned up. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Get up, like get on my rowing machine, and I work out before every podcast. It's like I come to work out. I ain't come here to take it easy. I ain't on vacation right now. Okay, you see these hands? Okay, we come to get something done. All right.
Sir. I know that's right.
Make it happen. Look good, feel good. Come across like, we win. We ain't come here to lose. We ain't come here to lose. And we ain't come here to over put our attention on people who want us to lose. You don't deserve that much attention.
No.
You're not that important,
Just do the work, man.
We just need people to do the work. Full circle back to those who support, those who become members, those who become inspired enough to be inspirational and get other people to tune into the channel and be a part of the dialogue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with that, too, I'm gonna jump in because I know we're getting close on time, but I wanted to also share that, with our listeners who are live and those who will see the replay, that we are going to be adding the tiers to the membership of the African Spirituality Experience channel, through the blessings and the love and support of all of y'all, which I truly appreciate every single one of y'all. Brother John Madison, IFA Sagun, Karade, Queen Liquid Waters, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, but Faku, Lade, Karade, Nukosi, MP, like everybody who showed up today, man, we appreciate every single one of y'all and all the love and support. Like real talk, I do, from the bottom of my heart. I wake up every day looking forward to putting in the work. Me and Baba talk pretty much every day, figuring out different ways that we can get better, and to take it to the next level. So it won't happen without the support of y'all. But because we have that, it inspires us to go harder, just to do what we're doing now, just to share and to chop it up and to build. And so with that, we give thanks because we crossed the 700 plus subscribers, and we did cross the first milestone to open up the memberships, the private memberships on the channel. So we'll be doing that. That'll be coming very soon. And Baba and I are actually working on, finalizing us bringing together the institute that we're going to be working together on as well to really take this thing way deeper and way higher to the next level. So shout out to all my African Spirituality Experience supporters, subscribers, everybody who watches the channel, even those, because I see the statistics, even those who like 50% of them aren't subscribed that watch and tuning in. Shout out to y'all too. If you don't mind, hit the like and click, the subscribe button, because we definitely would love to have you too, as a subscriber. But if you don't, that's cool. Just keep consuming. But we appreciate y'all, like for real. We really do appreciate it. And Baba, I appreciate you and your work ethic and your hustle, man, because you inspire me to hustle harder.
We're all reflectors, man. Back to the water. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I see the me in you, and I see the you in me.
Mustafa and Simba. Mustafa and Simba.
Oh, that what it is.
Yeah, Mustafa and Simba. That's what I'm gonna say. Yes, sir.
Whatever you call it, we gonna call it. All right?
Hey,
and we're gonna get this done, man. And we're gonna, and I don't mind telling the world, I'm gonna show you what I'm made of. And before I'm laid in this ground or burning the daggone whatever, cremated or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna let you know that I was here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna let you know that I was here. And for 7 generations, they're gonna remember.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna remember. And if all of us have that same kind of drive and that same kind of Aganju kind of, volcanic kind of push through, then Ifa Isheshe it's going to be more than that's something else we do to kind of get it off. You know what I mean? Or to kind of get through our worshiping and all of that. And again, that's beautiful. Okay. But we were merchants, we were warriors, we were sages, we were high priests and priestesses, you know, of various, okay,
esoteric science
nature. Okay, we were writers. They got systems, writing systems in West Africa, as well as those of the Meroic, of the Nubians, that they can't even translate. And I'm talking about little scribblings and stuff. I'm talking about complex writing systems. So this whole thing, oh, well, your people wouldn't read and write and all that. Man, get out of here with that. What is it?
Let's not forget the highest pinnacle of civilization that we still know of in Kemet, you know. And then you go down to Sudan, to Nubia, and you know, we can go across the globe, man, in regards to what we've done. The petroglyphs that's in the mountains, or you know what I mean? Like there's no limit to who and what we are and what we've done, you know.
But there just seems to be a limit on how
we access it, or accept it, or embrace it,
and are transformed by it,
or invoke it,
yes,
manifest it.
But see, that's what the priestly are supposed to be about.
Sure.
Wherever you go in the world, and we can draw correlations all day long, okay? But you know, that whole enslavement thing, yeah. We need to grit our teeth and clench, you know, and weather the storm of that until we reach the eye of it, you know, and by the grace of Oya, you know, we will re-civilize ourselves. And
sure, transformation, cool, Nansa.
Yeah. All right, my brother. I told you it would be 4 hours.
Hey, listen, I loved every millisecond of it, man. Like straight up, you already know how we do. Look, live or not, you know how we get it.
Yeah. It ain't gonna roll if we don't push it, you know.
Nah, we pushing that thing hard, boy. Like to the limit, buddy. Push it to the limit. But nah, I appreciate you, Baba. It's definitely been a magical Saturday, man. And shout out to all of our listeners, all our subscribers, all of our Baba. They say Queen Liquid Water say you clean with that hat, Baba. Killing them out here, but I like it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got the beret, the green beret.
This is the olden Benin days, man. They got it from us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Nah, I love it, man. And y'all know this is what we do it for. We love it. And Queen Liquid Waters I remember seeing her from the beginning. She's been
thank you, Queen. It's all good.
She's been supporting from the beginning. And you know, shout out to everybody who's been here with us rocking, man. We definitely truly appreciate y'all, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and this is what we do it for. And bye-bye. We ready. We here now. We here now. You know? So and thank you to everybody who joined us, man. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us, you know, rocking the Ashe African spirituality this Saturday, man. Much love, much appreciation. And yeah, we're going to continue to make it do what it do. And yes, man, we are on the road to 1K. We're going to knock that thing down too, ASAP. I'm going to make it a point to start doing more live streams. And, you know, we're just going to continue to do what we got to do. And then we definitely will be opening up the community aspects as well, because pretty soon we'll be able to really go deeper, you know, with the community only calls, especially for those who've been rocking with us. And then, you know, we're going to continue to make it do what it do. So, you know, as always, you know, I definitely appreciate all the love and support. Baba, I appreciate you, who you are, what you are, where you are, and what you do. And yeah, it's been real, man. It's been real, y'all. I look forward to doing it again. And we'll definitely, you know, be sharing on the community tab when we'll be doing another live stream. But I'm going to look forward to making it happen a lot more often. I don't want to overcommit myself, but I'm going to make for sure that we start popping out these live streams a lot more often in regards to just pouring in. So with that, you know, we got a big week coming up next week with some guests lined up that I can't wait to share with y'all. And then shout out to Baba IFA Banga. Y'all check out the website, Spiritual Gangsters. I put in the description if y'all want to get y'all a bottle of the Irise gin for Baba IFA Banga. Shout out to him for sponsoring, you know, the Ashe channel and creating the OT that's, you know, for us, by us in regards to our culture and our rituals and our practices and our offerings. And for those who partake, you know, it's made for that too. But I definitely use it for special occasions when I do my offerings or certain rituals and et cetera. But yeah, man, it's been real. I appreciate y'all. for sure. And we're gonna keep turning this thing up, man. We're gonna make it do what it do, babe. I'm gonna make it do what it do. We're gonna make it do what it do, y'all. Bye. You got anything for the family before we check out?
Nah, man, because it'll take another hour with me, trying to sum it up and pump it up. and get it right. I got all these tag notes and everything. I mean, like, come on,
right.
We're gonna be here forever.
And it's funny because when you talk about like always continuously learning something along them lines, I'm like, yo, every time we do a show, I'm taking notes straight up. Like, I'm taking notes and I'm learning. I'm in class and I'm at work simultaneously.
Let me share this with you, my brother. I take notes too, yes. Because I want to be sure that I give the best of me.
Yeah.
Now to us. I mean, a lot of times people just say yak. Okay, got it. There's some regurgitation. We got to do, and I'm like, yo, man, come on, get down so that people can get with this. Yes. You know what I mean? So, if this is a movement, then people got to be moved. They got to be so moved emotionally, intellectually. Not just some spiritual, rope that you're going to drag people in, and some, this is our religion and we got to do that. No, because if they feel it, that means that their ancestors are like, Shun is like, the bloodline thing. We waking up now. You're going to want to be a part of this because like they said, like they told me, you really didn't have a choice.
That part.
Really didn't have a choice.
Yes, sir.
You just had to let go.
Yeah, man. That part.
So now I'm going to close on that, but I got more for us next time.
That's good. All right. Well, with that, I'm going to shout out to one more, intricate part of the team, man. Someone who, as soon as I got exposed to their work, they made an impact on me that was profound, man. Like, I feel like they're the illest to do it, man. So shout out to Hondread, for doing what he do musically. We're bringing Isheshe and IFA to the map, man. We're gonna slide this thing out with the IFA by my, by our fellow Babalawo Hondread. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. This has been another episode. I'm your host, Orisha Gbemi. Shout out to Baba IFA Karade for coming, doing what he doing, dropping those mic drops, doing what he do. We'll see y'all on the next episode, family. We out. Thank y'all. We out. Peace.
ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjà kọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́ forsake not your ancestors and praise your